Hey guys, so let's quickly have a look at Bitcoin here for a second. I honestly don't believe that the crash that we had starting last week, Friday, is finished. And I'm going to share with you guys why I believe so. First of all, nothing that I'm about to say should be taken as financial advice at all. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, so we can see that this candle, this big drop that we had here on Friday, it was bought up and it continued to rally all the way up to 16K. However, because of this red candle that we're having currently, at the time that I'm making this recording, I believe that rally has been invalidated. Now, we won't know for sure until the end of today, around 7 p.m., to see where this red candle here is closed. And I believe that it's going to close in the red. I believe it's going to fail. That's what I believe personally. But I guess we'll just have to wait until later to find out. Now, around that 60K area, over here, we can see that it used it as support. This whole time, it used it as support. 16, 17K area right here. Right here, however, it used it as resistance. And it appears as if it's using it as resistance again right here. And I believe that if it fails to break above the 16K area, this crash will continue. That is bad news for alts, guys. For all the altcoins, that will be a very bad news, because that means that more capitulation is coming, because we know that Bitcoin moves the alts. Now, if it proceeds to crash further and even closes below 105, so it went all the way down here to 105. If it closes, has a red candle that closes below 105, where can we expect it to go next? Well, we can expect it to go down to 98, as I've mentioned in the previous video on the Bitcoin updates. We can expect it to go to 98K right here. Now let's put it up here on the weekly candles here. Okay, so there is a small chance, a very small possibility, if we notice that each time it pierced this purple line, it came a little bit down, then we had a bounce, then it continued to rally. Also, it did it right here as well. It pierced this purple line, came all the way down here, then it continued to rally. There's a very small possibility that it may do that again before continuing higher. So that would take it all the way down to around 98K again, guys. If it were to pierce that purple line and come down a little bit, it would come around 98, 100K. So I'm saying that if it were to have a bounce and to continue further up to that prophetic number of 133, there's a small possibility that we could see a bounce around this area. However, if it fails to bounce at around this area, 98, 100K, around here, if it fails to come here, then obviously you see where the next level of support is, right down here around 80K, guys. Yes, definitely. Because you see, it had some support around here in the 90s as well. You know, that's based off of right here. So it has some support here in the 90s, as I mentioned. You know, from 90K to 98. If it fails to hold supports anywhere in there, it's coming down to 80. 79, 80. It's coming right down here, guys. Coming right down here. Now, could we have a bounce from there? It's also possible. But, however, if it fails also to hold that level, it would confirm one of those moves that Yah showed me that was coming, one of the big moves. He showed me that there are two big crashes that are coming. They're coming back to back, one on top of the other, with space in between them. I don't know how long that space will be, whether it's going to be hours, days, or weeks. But what's important for you guys to know that there is going to be two big crashes, two of them, two big crashes. Now, what do I consider to be big? I consider at least a 50% crash to be a big crash, at least a 50% crash. And that would take a 50% crash, would take Bitcoin all the way down here, around Yeah, around 55K basically, but it's still around this area. I've mentioned this area before, 49K 50 down here, at which point all of the alts and these prophetic meme coins, the prophetic meme coins would take off, because then we would have that liquidity shift, even as I've seen it. You know, God himself showed this to me, you know, 2 big crashes and 2 waves of liquidity. And these waves are going to come from a Bitcoin crash, from my understanding. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out Bitcoin on the monthly. Okay, so I want you guys to notice this, okay? I've already highlighted this in a previous video. I want you guys to check out these monthly candles. Remember, this is the monthly candle. Check out these prominent wicks at the top of these moves for Bitcoin. And this one starting all the way back from 2017. This was that move for Bitcoin all the way up to 1920. Now we saw that Bitcoin had 2 prominent wicks, and it was literally a sign of a crash, of a heavy capitulation that was getting ready to occur in the markets. Look what occurred just after it printed those candles with those prominent wicks. Again, fast forward up to 2021, we had the same thing. Look at that right there. We had this candle here with this monthly candle with this prominent wick. It was a sign. Look what occurred afterwards. It dropped 50%. Bitcoin had a 50% correction, which I believe that could very well be the same thing that's getting ready to occur with Bitcoin. It continued to rally again, and look what happened at the top of this rally, of this move. It had 2 candles, and you usually notice that whenever you have like 2 of them, 2 candles, 2 monthly candles with 2 prominent wicks, 2 of them is even more, it's double more powerful, indicating that a crash is coming. This red candle here appears to be a shooting star doji, almost. But regardless of that fact, it's the wicks that I'm highlighting here. The wicks, they're very accurate, very powerful, and they're telling you what's coming next. Now, fast forward, look at this again. This is in 2024, just recently. Look at the shooting star candle right here. This was a monthly candle. I remember when this occurred that I had covered it and I warned everyone that, listen, a crash is coming. And anyone who has any kind of experience in the markets, who have seen this shooting star candlestick, they know that any subsequent moves for Bitcoin is going to be a fake out. And that's exactly what it occurred. Because this candlestick here has power. It's very powerful, very accurate. And so I was well aware of that as well. So it went on to rally after this shooting star candlestick, but it was an obvious fake out. And so it printed another candle with another prominent wick again, signaling that the bears are in control. And so it proceeded to crash again. Now to our current day, it rallied all the way up again, printed this monthly candle with a prominent wick, printed another monthly candle with a prominent wick. I sincerely believe that it's as a result of market manipulation. It's all a result of market manipulation why this Bitcoin cycle hasn't topped out as yet. That's what I honestly believe. There's a lot of manipulation that's going on in the markets. Now we have this other candle. It has a wick, but it's not as prominent as these two right here. But regardless of that fact, the sign remains the same. And it's even more sure, more powerful than all of these others combined. Because we have not only 2 of them, we have 3, and now we're forming the 4th. Now we can't tell for sure until the end of the month for this one, which appears to be the most powerful and the most prominent so far. Like I said, these candles, these monthly candles with these prominent wicks are extremely accurate. You see, and look where they usually occur, at the tops of the moves for Bitcoin. Now I believe that within 2 weeks we'll know if, and also for you guys, if you look, pull up Bitcoin on the monthly, and if when you look, you check it out in 2 weeks time, this monthly candle here closes below here, below 150, let's call it 115, right below its current level of resistance. If it closes below 116K, all right, anywhere below here, let's say 115, 100, yeah, 116.15. If it closes below there, anywhere down here, that would confirm that a crash is coming and heavy capitulation is about to hit the markets for Bitcoin. And not only for Bitcoin, because when Bitcoin falls, everything else tumbles. So that's what I want you guys to know. You know, that's the warning that I want to give to you guys. Just watch and see where this candle here closes. Now, if it continues, however, if it's being bought up and it continues to pump and goes up to 100, at least 133,000, we know that after that, we can expect Bitcoin at some point to crash down to zero. However, if Bitcoin fails, if it proceeds to crash from where it is anywhere beneath 133,000, personally, I'm not expecting it to crash to zero. I'll be expecting a bounce somewhere down here. I don't know where exactly, but I'm expecting a bounce. I can quickly tell you all the numbers again. Next, 98,000. We can expect possibly a bounce from 98,000. Next, 80,000 at the 79, 80,000. And then we have this purple line right here. Look at where it sits. Look at where this purple line is, right at 69. That number that I've told you guys about before. Right here, it used 69 as resistance. Right? And it built the support right here at that same level, 69. And that purple line is sitting right there. So it's a possibility that it could come down here. I've mentioned before that I told you guys that I'm expecting it to come down to retest its previous all-time high, which is over here, 69K, right at that purple line. So it may come down here as well. However, we can't ignore and forget the 49K area right here. This is where we wanted to go. For all you guys that are in the prophetic meme coins, because that's when they're going to take off. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to be at some point from where Bitcoin is currently at down to the, I'd say around the 49, 50K area. At some point during that crash, these prophetic meme coins are going to take off. You know, WikiCat, BNB Lion, BNB Tiger, you know, Volt Inu. At some point, they're going to take off. Let's quickly have a look at, let's see, a BNB Tiger on the daily. So I'm going to answer your question very, very quickly. So for you guys who want to know, let's say Bitcoin starts to crash, right? We know that it moves the market, it moves all of these other coins. Now, let's use an example. If Shiba Inu was at this price, would you be considering selling Shiba Inu, right? Or buying it? Just answer that question. If you would consider buying it, well, it's the same thing that applies here for BNB Tiger, because BNB Tiger is the exact same coin like Shiba Inu. It's just as prophetic as Shiba Inu. And as a matter of fact, it may pump even before Shiba Inu. While Shiba Inu is crashing, this coin may very well be pumping at that time. So take that into consideration. Just buy this coin and forget it. Just leave it. It's at 11 zeros. So yes, it's a possibility that it may crash, but that's irrelevant in comparison to where it's going, because it's already at the bottom or near the bottom. While other coins, such as many of these blue chips, and also some meme coins as well, they have already pumped. So they're either at the tops or near the tops. So they're getting ready to come down. Like Shiba Inu, you know, by vision, we know that it's coming down. So you want to set your low limit buy orders. As a matter of fact, let's check it out real quick. So there you have it, guys. Remember I mentioned this before. I said that if it fails to come up here at where it was previously at and build support and proceeds to crash further and to even close below this candle here, that would spell bad news. And it would be exactly like I've seen it in the dreams. It will be fulfilling that dream that God showed me. And this is for you guys to know. Watch out for that move. If it's going to do that, if it's going to come up and turn over and continue downwards, that would mean it's heading right down to zero. Have a quick look at ADA. We didn't check out ADA in the last time. You guys have noticed how similar all of these coins are. Look how far ADA tumbled, all the way down to 28 cents. Whoever bought in here made some cash, I tell you. Look at this. So ADA looks pretty much just like Shiba Inu and XRP and all of these other coins. That's the same wick they have. Some of them are bigger than others. But guys, again, the same thing applies as for Shiba Inu. If it continues to go down here, if it fails in its rally and continues to crash and even closes a daily candle below this mighty candle here with this wick, then we know that it's heading down to those prophetic numbers, just like XRP, down to 9 cents, 10 cents. And you guys might want to set your low limit buy orders, because you don't know how long or how fast the flash crash is going to occur. You know, it may go down to those numbers and maybe just for 5 minutes, who knows? And you may not be able to get in with a market buy, with a market purchase. So it's wisdom to set your low limit buy orders. Quickly check out Lunk here. I don't want to make this video too long. The same thing. Look how similar they look, guys. So yes, this has also been bought up. That was a good buy price. Whoever got in here has made some cash. But however, the same thing applies for Lunk as well. If it continues to go down, we know that it's going to go much, much further. Oh yes, how do we know? Because whenever Bitcoin crashes, all these other coins moves in reaction to Bitcoin, and so they will go further, including XRP. I know a lot of people, like I said before, they greatly idolize this coin, and they don't believe that it could go to very low numbers. But however, let me correct you. Let me correct you right now. No coin, including XRP, is immune of a Bitcoin crash. So whenever this Bitcoin capitulation starts, you see this wick? This is nothing. Let me pull it up here on the weekly. This is nothing. Whenever Bitcoin starts to crash, when it really gets on a roll, this is where it's coming down to. No. Actually, monthly. Yeah, this is where it's coming down to. Right down here at the 10 cents area. You see where the bottom is? Right there. It may be a wick, you know, just how it bounced off that purple line. It may just wick down there and just come right back up, you know, being bought up all the way back up. And at some point, personally, I believe at some point during the crash of Bitcoin, that's when it's going to take off to $17 to $22 and much higher. Yeah. So that's what's coming. What else is there? Yeah, so back to Bitcoin real quick. So I want you guys to know this. It's the monthly, right? Okay, so this is Bitcoin on the monthly. I've already mentioned, I've already showed you guys what to look out for. These prominent wicks, they're very powerful, and they usually tell you when the tops of a market move has occurred. And I believe, all right, so this is something that I want to share with you guys. Judging by where Bitcoin is coming from, which is around $15,000, right? 15,000 all the way up to 126 to $126,000. Judging by how far it's coming from, how far it is pumped from, we can tell you that a significant crash or correction is coming. We can't consider this to be a significant correction. That's hardly a $30,000 drop. That's nothing. And this is judging by how far it is coming. This one had this pump right here, and it dropped 50%. It's nowhere near as high. This pump is twice as high as this one, and it has not yet had a healthy correction. Like I said, this cannot be considered a correction. This was just a normal little, you know, pullback, basically. You can just call that a little pullback. Therefore, throughout all of this pump, Bitcoin has not yet has a healthy correction. A healthy correction, in my opinion, is at least a 50% correction. A 50% correction would bring it right down here, currently at 50 to 55,000. I've mentioned this number to you guys already at 49.50. This is where I'm expecting it to come before we can see any significant pumps to up to that $200,000 area. Bitcoin definitely needs that slingshot effect. You see, and I believe that it's going to do it. This, I believe, this monthly candle, whenever it's closed, is going to tell us whether or not it is time, it's going to do it now or later, because we don't know that. But I'm watching, and I want you guys to watch this monthly candle as well to see if that's what it's getting ready to do. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's very important because we know that whenever it crashes, it moves all these other coins. So I want you guys to take position, set up your low buy orders. And if there's any of you guys out there who are doing leverage trading, be careful, because too much have already been liquidated. Too much people have already lost so much money in this space here. So I don't want you guys to lose anymore. I would be very wary. Pay attention to this monthly candle to see where it's going to close come at the end of the month. If it fails to continue to rally and to go up to 133, a bounce is definitely coming somewhere down here, maybe at 79K, around 80, or 69K, around 70, or 49K. There's also this very distant possibility, a very distant possibility that it could also even come all the way down to 20K, guys. Anything is possible with Bitcoin. This is the very epitome of volatility, this asset right here. So it could do anything. Yeah, it could also bounce from 20K in the 20s somewhere. It's a possibility, which would, it would fulfill that vision of the big crash, because it's two of them and they will be big, not no little crash down to 80, at least down to 50, I think, would fulfill and would better describe a big crash as far as what I saw. So there you have it, guys. Take position. We know that a giant sale out is coming, and this crash that began Friday last week, it is not finished. There's more to come. Position yourselves with all of these prophetic coins, because whenever Bitcoin starts to tumble, it only takes one whale to sell to start a reaction. Only just one whale. And you could just go to your bed with Bitcoin around these prices and wake up and it's already crashed down 80 to 80K. You see? Because there's a lot of whales out there. And it only takes one to start the chain reaction for a heavy, huge sell-off, capitulation in the markets. So I want you guys to be on the good side and not on the bad. Prepare, position yourselves. This is the wealth transfer, guys. Now, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Peace, shalom. Until next time.